With the eyes of Chisa, I have now seen the truth of crit stats in Wuthering Waves. Okay, now, jokes aside. What happened? Now, if we look at the spreadsheet of a very recently hot topic where, context, the Korean government required Wuthering Waves to release a probability sheet, their full probabilities for echoes. And under here, crit rate and crit damage stats are shown to be not really, because a lot of the community apparently has already caught on to, okay, why does it feel like we are more biased on these? But now we have a confirmation that yes, they are indeed very biased. How biased exactly? You can see here as a visualization. It is almost 3 times less, exponentially drop by nearly 3 times each tier of crit, like in terms of the amount of rolls, like not the amount of rolls, the amount of the actual crit value that it gives. Let's say here from 6.3 to 7.5 is tier 1, it drops nearly 3 times to towards tier 2 from 8.1 to 9.3, and it drops almost 3 times again towards the best 2 values of like crit. As opposed, if you look at attack, right, every other stat here is actually same-ish story, where everything from ER, defense, HP, damage bonuses, they are all like here for attack, right? They are leaning towards the middle, the median of the stat here. Okay, ignore this for now, like, gonna move that away. But yeah, crit rate here correlates to this chart, and crit damage correlates to that chart. It is very much skewed. Now, why that might be, I do have a theory. My theory is, if we look in game, I think since 1.0-ish onwards, crit rate is more of a premium stat. By premium stat, I mean by inherently they value crit rate at a higher position than other stats. That's why for characters, like 1.0 characters like Chang-Li or Shang Liao, they don't have any inherent crit rate bonuses, right, on themselves or the echo sets. It doesn't have anything. But now, if we look at 3.0 characters, oh boy! Let's use Ibeth as example. Inflicting a Fusion Burst or Tomb Rupture increases the Resonator's crit rate by 20%. That is 1. And 2, on her passive, it increases her crit damage by 60% total, depending on... doesn't really depend. It's both. It's both modes. But yeah, they are just handing them out like free money now, right? Lucy has her crit rate increased innately by 15% by just equipping Atom Smasher's Echo. Right, Hyuki, her set increases crit damage, not crit damage, crit rate by 25%. Passive increases crit damage by 40%. That is massive, right? But like, the disparity between 1.0 characters, actually, heck, even Carlotta, I'm pretty sure, does not have any crit rate bonuses on anything. Well, yes, there is a very giant damage boost on her own Anata set, but really, only the first time that they put a crit increase was for Phoebe and Zai from Eternal Radiance set, increasing crit rate by 20% for 15 seconds with a condition inflicting Spectral Frazzle. Well, we can kind of guess what happened, right? Probably at, like, early on, Kuro, they designed, like I said, crit as a premium stat, but then they realized, oh wait, that is not good. Because players are innately gonna chase for a very high and very well crit build character. Like, they can obviously gonna min-max everything and chase for higher stats. But our system is very skewed towards low ends, right, of the crit roll. Hence, which was kind of why they end up putting crit bonuses on newer characters since Nzani, right? With the crit rate buff here on Eternal Radiance for 20%, that goes to Cartathea as well, increases crit rate by 10% here. Augusta, increase crit damage by 4%, stacking up to 5 times, that's 20. And then up to like now the 3.0 characters where they are just, they're not even hiding it anymore, like crit damage increased by 40% and also crit rate by 25% here. Right. Very absurd numbers. But now that creates a question. What about 1.0 characters? Cause, alright, let's just not hide the fact, right? They are just innately worse. Not only by damage multipliers, but also by their crit, right? Like, it's just worse. Like, what do we do about them? Cause we have a rerun next patch on 3.5 on Friday, actually. We're gonna have a Jinjo banner rerun. I cannot, in good faith, right, if any new player comes up to me and asks, hey, what do I pull to have a head start? For good conscience, I cannot say, but I cannot recommend them 1.0 characters. In terms of having a very comfortable head start. Right? Because innately, they are just worse. Not only in damage, and also just in terms of self-buffs. And how hard is it to actually, like, build the character? You know? Like, obviously, they're gonna be spending their time upgrading the characters. That's one. Like, progressing their characters' levels, etc. They are gonna be already wasting a lot of resources on that. And you're telling me that I should recommend, like, they are rerunning Jinjo banners, and they are gonna have to, or maybe eventually want to min-max the characters? With this difficulty? Compared to 3.0 characters? Like, the disparity is huge. If you want my comment, right, on what that's like, it's kind of like the Wakegate situation with Destiny 2 back in episode Revenant. If you see this weapon, and, like, if you played Destiny 2 and see this weapon, you know what I'm talking about. It's the Wakegate situation, baby. Alright, what happened here? Let me pull it up. Wakegate was a community-dubbed controversy where Destiny 2 weapon perks weren't dropping randomly as intended. Players discovered that specific perk combinations were nearly impossible to acquire due to a bug in Bungie's random number generation code, rather than any intentional weighting by the developers. That was a bug, where you were just, like, for example, if you're trying to roll a perk, like, roll a weapon with a specific perk, like this, for example, you were just, like, I forgot what was the rule for, what was the bias for the rule, but yeah, some combos are just way more harder compared to, like, this, for example, on the grenade launcher. You can just kind of take my... But here in wuwa, you are just intentionally, right? Intentional waiting by the developers, that you are just gonna roll on the, like, you're way more biased to roll the low end of the crit roll. What I think would be a better solution, how it should have been, was this, where we just kind of shift the green up by one crit value, right? Starting from 13.8 to 16 in terms of, like, in terms of crit damage instead of 12. So you are definitely not likely to roll a 12.6, but you are definitely gonna start from at least 13.8, right? Just using crit damage as an example. Well, while everything else, if we want to keep it the same, sure, whatever. But if we want to actually fix it as a logistical standpoint, there's also problems, right? Because, for example, like I rolled this back then. Alright, then what about this? I have 6.9 crit rate and 17.4. If we just, like, that doesn't feel very fair to me, because if that is the case, does that mean if we tweak up the RNG, if we just adjust the RNG, kind of as a post-fix example, then does that mean my 6.9 crit rate could have been a 7.5 or 8.1 potentially if we were to tweak them? Like, could have tweaked up the RNG in the future? Like, it creates like a sense of inequality, right? And oh god, I know how it is with gacha community sometimes. Holy, you people can feel very unequal on everything. Alright, that's my opinion, not Naru's, but people will feel unequal, right? So in light of this, what do I actually think? Like, what do I think in terms of Kuro should do? I think answer is pretty simple. Battle Pass. Shove transducers in there. Alright? Like, in the free tier and the paid tier, shove them both. Like, in both tiers. Right? I'm gonna have to pull up the shop. For whales, for spenders, definitely, right? Should be more accessible. Instead of 60. You know how expensive 60 actually is. It's absurd, right? Even on Afterglow Coral, like the premium Coral, 30 for two, like half price on 2 transducers. It's still expensive as heck, right? They should put this into the standard corals as well, right? TOA shop. They should put those in there as well, right? Hologram shops, they also should shove some of them in there. Just find ways to shove transducers to people. Because this is the reality we live in now. Like, we are confirmed to be living in now since 1.0. We are just inherently biased to roll low crit rate stats in terms of min-maxing standpoint, right? Like, because obviously we're gonna chase double crit on top of at least 1 or 2 other stats if you're like a absolute masochist like me. I chase for like many other stats as well. Like, I would go for like 3 or 4. Like 3 or 4 stats on average. Right? 3 or 4 valid stats on average. Also, side note, this must have costed me like some insane luck to have max double crit and also have an attack stat as well. And this probably costed me a fucking fortune. Okay, I know Nora told me to not swear on the video, but my bad. I just can't hold it. But yeah, this is absurd. On my Augusta, it's even more absurd because I have 5 stats here. I have also 5 stats here. Like, stuff like that, as a mathematical probability standpoint, that is some insane numbers. Just for example, I'm gonna do like a roll on... I forgot to switch tabs, but yeah. Just gonna do an example, right, on Lucilla. Just gonna use a modifier. I don't want to really burn it, but for the video's sake, I'm just gonna do it, right? You're just gonna roll something like this, right? And you're probably more than likely gonna discard. Like, for example, let's just pretend that we have double crit on, like, instead on liberation and on the attack percent, right? If that was like minimum, I would probably like toss that away as a min-maxer standpoint. I would definitely toss this away. Like, if I were to roll something like this, I would like, alright, I can probably try a transducer and like see if I can get a better stat, for example, right? It's just really bum to like learn that our RNG is just kind of screwed this way, and yeah, different note as well. We should also just in general buff 1.0 characters. Like outside of just ESM, but ESM I meant end state matrix. If I just pull it up. Like, we should just permanently, like, buff characters outside of just this specific endgame. 'Cause it's just, you know, very bum to just be playing a character that has less stats, right, compared to every other character. Actually, on a very much side note, should we also just increase our crit stats for these older characters as well? Because inherently their motion numbers are already smaller than new characters, right? Well, why don't we also just increase the crit rate as well? I'm not really sure, but that would be a different topic. Not gonna divulge further into it. But yeah, I don't know what you guys all think. Please do leave your comments down below if you have any any opinions about what you've learned today as well. Yeah, interesting revelation. Indeed. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one. Probably when Yang drops. Yeah, probably see you guys in the next one when Yang video drops. Actually, wait, no. There is also an NT video afterwards, after I record this as well. Alright, yeah. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. And I wish you all have good crit rolls on your echoes.